means take care of yourself and know all the information you need to know when you're going someplace fun. I'm going to take another quick break, and when we get back, we are going to talk about travel trends. Do you know how to lose a crowd on Alaskan cruise? Lots of people are cruising to Alaska, and those ports can get pretty full sometimes. So I just want to make sure that you have some tips on how to stay away from the crowd so that you can have more fun. This is Karen Duncan, your bucket list buster. I'll see you in a minute. More group trips for 2019 with Peaks Cruises and Tours. We had a trip called Peaks Pairs. If you would like to be a member of Peaks Pairs, contact us at Peaks Cruises and Tours. Send us an email either to yourbucketlistbuster@gmail.com or Karen at peaksvacations.net. So this trip is at Sandals, Barbados. We're going as a group. And it's couples. It's a couples only trip, and couples of all makes up, girls and girls, boys and boys, girls and boys. We don't care. And if you're single and you don't mind sleeping with your sister or your brother, then that's fine, because we've only got one bed in the room at Sandals. Sandals, Barbados, St. Lawrence Gap, Barbados. What's included? It's all inclusive, of course. Stay at 1, play at 2. We get to visit the Royal Barbados as well. 5-star global gourmet dining at 17 restaurants, premium alcohol. Water sports include scuba, kayaks, canoes, snorkeling, Hobie cats, pool, volleyball, glass bottom boats, and land activities, table tennis, bocce ball, beach volleyball, board games, pool tables, cricket, and yoga. Your entertainment will include a piano bar, live bands, Caribbean night talent show, carnival beach party, white party, chocolate buffet night, ooh, yummy, yummy, Barbados Day and Street Jamboree, and the manager cocktail party. What's included as Peaks Pairs? A romantic dinner for 2, the Barbados Garrison Historical Sightseeing Tour, and of course, you can't miss the Oystons Express headed to Oystons Fish Fry and Music Festival that occurs every Friday night with locals and visitors. Who all can go? All couples in love. Couples who not only love each other but like each other. Couples who want to experience the world together. Couples who like to have fun. I hope you'll join us with Peaks Pairs in Barbados. Welcome back. Karen Duncan here, your bucket list buster. So, you're thinking about taking a cruise to Alaska. Lots of people have Alaska on their bucket list. But I came across a really cool article from the telegraph.co.uk on how to lose crowds on an Alaskan cruise. There are sometimes multiple huge ships in ports, and then you have to kind of manipulate around the crowds, going on excursions, going shopping, going sightseeing. So here are some ideas on how to make it happen. Take a boutique cruise company. Less people to start with, smaller ports of call, off the beaten track. That's a really cool idea. I'm starting to get into the smaller ship feel myself. You know, I've done the big boys and I enjoy them, but I'm ready to start paring it down to a little bit smaller ship. And those boutique cruise lines like Windstar is one of them, would be a great way to do that. Plus, the smaller ships can get into some of the ports that the larger ships can't get into. If you're going on one of the big boys, one of the mainstream, travel starting point should start in the middle of the week as their suggestion. Meaning, don't go on a ship that starts on a Saturday or Sunday. Maybe go to one on that starts on a Wednesday. And that's really cool if you can do that. Where it may include the land portion, where you're going to do some extra excursions, like go to Denali for a couple of days, then you could probably do that. The other thing is go early season, which starts in May, or end of season, which would be August. If you do it during that timetable, there are lots less people because folks have to still have kids in school, so they don't go, or they've got to get back to put kids back in school. So that's something to keep in mind. There's a website called cruisetimetables.com. It tells you how many ships will be in port at any port that you go to, not just Alaska, but you can check out how many ships will actually be in port during the timetable that you're looking at going on a cruise. I think this is a fabulous resource because you may not want to go if there's 6 ships in port. You may want to go on a week where there's only 3 ships in port. So that's called cruisetimetables.com. Also, go off on your own. Mitchell and I do this a lot. We like to get to a cruise port, take one of the government-sanctioned cabs, and asked him to take us on a trip. Take us on an excursion. Show us where you live. Show us the locals. Show us where you eat. Take us to the scenes. Take us to the sightseeing. But what happens when you do it in a cab as opposed to doing it on an excursion with a bus full of people is you get to go faster. I don't have to wait for 50 people to get back on the bus. We just get out, take our pictures, get something to eat or whatever we're doing, shopping. We get back in the cab and we go on to the next place. So we end up doing the excursion at our own pace, and we don't have to worry about a crowd of people with us. Small scale excursions. There are some private excursion companies now popping up all over the world. There's a local tour guide website where you can do tours on a smaller scale, more privately. It could be a group of you, your own special group. It could be just 2 people, 4 people. You kind of pick what you're looking for. And then you contact these folks and you do your own excursion. Now, I must tell you, unless the cruise line recognizes these tour companies, if you are late to getting back, they will leave you. As opposed to if you're going on one of the cruise sanctioned excursions, they will wait for you. So you have to keep that in mind. But I'll put this article link on Facebook, so if you want to take a look at it and make some choices based on that, it'll be there available. That's the Your Bucket List Buster Facebook page. The next travel trend, is the facial recognition that's popping up at airports and cruise terminals. How do you feel about that? Is that something that really excites you or no? I'm kind of, mixed feelings, but I live out of the country, so I need people to know who I am and where I am anyway. So I use global entry as part of my process for when I get to the States or anywhere that has a global entry kiosk. And that's a frequent flyer program where I shortcut some of the process of immigration. And they take your picture when you go to the kiosk to verify who you are. You've been fingerprinted. They take your picture. They give you a ticket. You take it to the immigration counter. And you go past a lot of people that are standing in line. Now they're checking it at security checkpoints to be able to do this. So instead of using your boarding pass, they would take your picture, and your picture would pop up when you're walking through security. They would know that that's you. Some cruise lines are even using it. At the terminal, they take your picture, and then everything is done based on facial recognition. As opposed to having to go through the check-in like we're used to checking in at cruise lines. They're trying to find ways to streamline the check-in process at hotels and airports and cruise ships. So that's one of the reasons that they're doing this. And, what's your thought process on it? When I first put this on my Facebook page, there are a lot of people that were like, yuck, They don't want big boy knowing where they are all the time. They're afraid that their identity is going to be used for some underhanded back room kind of a deal. So I'd just like to know what your thoughts are. Let's look at some last minute deals of the week. How about that? Some of the things that are coming across my desk for last minute deals, I think this is kind of a good deal. Princess, Eastern Caribbean, Royal Princess, Regal Princess, and Caribbean Princess. Ports, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Princess Key, Bahamas, St. Thomas, Virgin Islands, St. Martin's, and then back to Fort Lauderdale. You have an interior stateroom starting from $699 per person. And guess what? The third and the fourth person are only $193 plus taxes and port charges. And the taxes and port charges are only $164.61 per person. So this cruise leaves in January. If you're interested in some last minute deals, that could be a really nice getaway, especially after the holidays. I love to travel after the holidays. I don't know about you guys, but I really do. I think that's a perfect time. It's less crowded. The weather is warm and beautiful and the islands, and it's just a great time for families. If you've got adult children, skip trying to travel during the holiday season because traffic and the flights and everything can be really crazy. Go afterwards. Deal of the week: Southwest Airlines is offering New Year's flight sales, but there are some stipulations, of course. First of all, the deals must be booked by January the 4th, and travelers must purchase their tickets 21 days ahead of schedule. If you're flying domestically, you should understand the carrier's applicable travel dates for this sale, including January 8th through May 22nd. That means that you have to fly between those dates in the U.S., as well as January 14th through February 28th, and then April 23rd through May 16th if you're going to San Juan, Puerto Rico. There are some restrictions, of course. They're non-refundable. Exclusions apply. Certain seats are available. Travel days and markets are limited. Some of the best Southwest deals during this time will be flights between Atlanta and Boston for $69, Chicago and New York City for $91, Dallas and New Orleans for $109, Los Angeles and Las Vegas for $59, and San Juan and Chicago for $152. For more information, check out Southwest's official website for New Year's deals. And our last deal, I think this one is pretty interesting and kind of fun. If you're really looking for something exotic in 2019, well, Emerald River Cruise has a brand new ship going down the Mekong. It's called the Harmony. It's the newest star on the Mekong River and will hit the waters of Southeast Asia August 2019. Some of the benefits: 2-for-1 guest to staff ratio. You get to fly free from the U.S. when you book any of the 13 plus day cruises and tours through Vietnam, Cambodia, Ho Chi Minh City, Cambodia capital, and the temples of Angkor Wat. So here you go. 13-day majestic Mekong Discover cruise, treasures and temples of Vietnam and Cambodia. 17 days includes Hanoi. And then the grand tour of Vietnam and Cambodia, 21 days, Hanoi. Free air, guys. If you ever want to go on the Mekong River, that might be the time to do it. I'm going to take a quick break. That's the end of our hot specials, hot trends. And when I get back, we're going to talk about weekly news, travel news, see what's going on in the travel industry. And I'll be back. This is Karen Duncan, your Bucket List Buster. I'll see you in a minute. Well, another great adventure for 2019, The Adventures of Smokey. Smokey being my husband, Mitchell Duncan, who used to work in Yellowstone National Park while he was in college and used to do tons of hiking and climbing the Tetons. So we thought we'd put together a trip so we'd be able to go back and let him do some hiking. That's what we're preparing for. So we're going to Yellowstone and the Grand Tetons walking and hiking trip, September 8th through the 13th, 2019.